Hi there. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're at in the world. My name is Deena Lynn. I'm with Ameo Life, and I'm here with my partner, who's a co-founder of Ameo Life, Doug Godkin. And we're really excited about this Q&A and this webinar this evening called Save Money by Exposing the Hidden Dangers in Your Bathroom. And I'm excited about this topic. It's one of a topic that's close to me in my personal life, not just my professional life, but for all of you who are on this call this evening, I'm just going to start off with a little fact that I know because I'm in the health and wellness field. And I'm going to read something to you, and then I'm going to hand it off to Doug because I don't think that many people know this. But in my experience, as a woman, first of all, women, we are the biggest consumer of cosmetics and products in our home with cleaning supplies, beauty products, and so forth. And it's surprising and it's sad what not only women are being faced, but men are facing today as well. Since the 1940s, now all of this, I have resources if you want to read up on any of the resources, but I'm just going to read this fact. Since the 1940s, now this word's a little fancy, it's called polyfluoroalkyl substances, which are known as PFSAs. They have been used in the manufacturing of all sorts of consumer and industrial products, and they are also known as forever chemicals. These chemicals have also been linked to cancer, birth defects, thyroid issues, weakened immune systems in our children, and other serious health concerns. Sadly, the Environmental Working Group study that was completed in the last few years commissioned about 5 laboratories to examine the umbilical cords of 10 babies from all around the world, and then other babies as well. And they found that there are more than 400 chemicals in the umbilical cords of babies that are coming into the world. And that was just through that study. Now I'm sharing that why? Because we're facing toxins from the moment we're birthed up until the day that we pass away. But I share that because that's something that Doug is passionate about. Doug is passionate about bringing not only a natural product, but a clean product that is multifaceted and can be used in your everyday life. And by using the products here at Ameo Life, you're not only improving your health, but you're also lessening the toxic load on your body as well. I can say a lot more on this subject, but I'm going to hand over to Doug. I just wanted to kick it off with that statement that I shared. It's sad, but I don't want anyone, I'm not using that as a scare tactic. I'm sincerely sharing that because the more we know, we can make better decisions about the products that we use in our everyday lives. So Doug, it's all yours.
Thank you. And what's driving these meetings that we're doing here and inviting people to is essentially the questions that come into us and our customer care team. And what we find more often than not is just this overwhelming question that people have of what's making me sick and what's causing a lot of the concerns that they're facing. And so what we wanted to kind of do is start tearing apart our average lives, our days and the different parts of our homes to say, okay, what's in this environment that we live in that can be contributing to our health kind of things. And we just kind of roll along in life on a daily basis. And like I say, we're not necessarily thinking about, what it is that's making me sick or, how is this interacting with my life? So I just took a cruise through the average bathroom in somebody's house and kind of collected a bunch of different products. And I think everybody's going to be familiar with all of these. And the companies that supply these products, they can come after me legally if they want to. I'm not going to say anything nefarious. I'm just going to tell the truth. So everybody's probably familiar with this, right? Okay, so let's just talk about why we use this. Has anybody ever questioned why we use this? Probably not a lot of people can actually just really answer why they use this. Is it because marketing has told you to? Is it because the grocery store told you to? Is it because the doctor told you to? Is it because a fancy ad on television told you to? And have you been told to use this because your teeth are going to be whiter and you're going to have a brighter smile and you're going to be able to kiss somebody better? Is that why we use these things? That's on average what society has been told to use this for. But do you know that if you take more for a child, if a child takes more than a pea size of this and swallows it, they've got a contact poison control? You've got a product here that you're told is going to brighten your smile, give you a better life, but is poisonous. So the conception that a lot of people have is, well, I use it, but I spit it out. Okay, your lymphatic system is right in your mouth. Your glands are right in your mouth. It doesn't matter if you're spitting the contents out of that, you're still picking some of that up and it's still getting distributed down to your liver and kidneys. It's a toxin. So maybe not one-time usage, maybe not 2 times usage, but this is something that you're told to do 3 times a day. Over the course of time, those toxins are going to build up in the body. And so just letting some more people in here. You know, we've got fluorides, we've got all sorts of nefarious chemicals. There isn't one ingredient in this that's actually beneficial for the body, but we're still told to use it every day. And we're almost guilted into using it every day, because if we don't, our body, you know, or our life isn't going to be as good as it should be. So, you know, there's one product. Here's another one. And I'm just, like I say, I'm just grabbing these, you know, out of people's houses that I've been to over the last few days. So I hope they don't miss them. Here's another one. Shampoo. And, you know, the first ingredient in most of these products is alcohol and salt, like sodium, sodium, sodium. You look at the first 4 ingredients on pretty much all these products I'm going to talk about is sodium, salt, and alcohol. And then we get into a lot of the more nefarious chemicals that we wonder why people are getting sick. And it's not, you know, we were talking about yeast infections and yeast conditions a week or so ago, and somebody brought up the question of, you know, I've got this scalp fungal growth. Well, a lot of the ingredients in these products are what's feeding yeast. They're what's feeding fungal growth. It's what's feeding the skin conditions and the problems that people are having. So when we're looking at what's making us sick and a key contributor to what it is that's making us sick, we've got to start looking in the bathroom here. We're going to save foods and the kitchen for another night. But, you know, here's another product that I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with and using on a daily basis. Here's another one, and this is one of my ones that I dislike more than anything. Right there. Mouthwash. Another vanity product, essentially, that does nothing good for us, but kill all of the good and the bad bacteria in our mouths. In a health crisis situation, and, you know, we look at our immune system, we look at our body's natural biome. Why would we want to use a product that's going to actually completely destroy our immune system? And, you know, our immune system, there's a huge portion of our immune system in our mouth. So this is wiping out everything. Once again, the ingredients are completely nefarious. Contact poison control if you swallow it. And people are using this and wondering why they're getting sick. They're wondering why they're having gum concerns. And even though it'll say, you know, the ingredients to combat gingivitis and some of these other things, that's coming at a cost. It's coming at a cost that's actually doing more worse for your health than it is complementing the health. So there's another one that's absolutely horrific for overall health. And once again, it's a liquid. It's getting picked up by the lymphatic system. It's going to the liver and kidneys. It's going to the digestive system. So a lot of people think it's the foods that we eat and these kind of things that are contributing to digestive health and kidney health and you know, microbiome health. But it's not just the foods that we're eating. It's everything that we're engaging ourselves with, from the foods to the personal care products to anything that we're putting into and onto our bodies. So here's another one. Everybody loves Lush. I'm in Canada. Lush is huge here, but I know we've got Lush stores everywhere, and people love the smell and the feel of their products. But and here's one of them, stole out of a bathroom, and smells great. Everybody loves the smell of these products, but first ingredients: sodium lauryl sulfate, sodium cocabentonate, sodium bicarbonate, artificial fragrances. Like, there isn't one ingredient in here that actually occurs naturally in nature. So what do you think is going to happen by bathing in this every night? It's getting absorbed into our skin, and then we wonder why our skin's breaking out with different skin concerns. We wonder why we have a lot of the problems that we're having nowadays. We're actually soaking in the things that are making us sick. So just something to keep in mind, when we're making decisions about what we're soaking in the bath.
Doug, do you have a deodorant there on your end?
I don't have a deodorant because I meant to grab one. But there's aluminum. There's another product that the media tells us that we have to have, and the good world tells us that we have to have this deodorant that's full of aluminum and full of all of these toxins that we're putting in one of the most sensitive areas of our body, in our armpits. And we've got cancer-causing agents in these products. We've got, and we put deodorant on to help us from sweating, to help us from an odor that comes from sweat. But essentially, they're also trying to get our body to stop doing something natural. So we're going to talk about an alternative to deodorant here in a little bit. Here's another one: hairspray. Hope you don't light yourself on fire. And just another one full of alcohols, full of a whole bunch of toxic products that we're putting on our hair. Well, I'm not, because I don't have a lot of hair, but that's getting put on the hair on a daily basis to look good. Serves no purpose other than to look good, but it's chemicals. And then we hear and see, we want to look good, we want to feel good, we want to present ourselves nicely, but it's coming at a cost. And on one side, it's great to feel good about ourselves, but on the other side, what we hear on the other side of it is, my hair's falling out, my scalp's itchy, I've got fungus, I've got all sorts of different issues in my scalp and my eyes and all these different parts, of the head. And I'm just trying with this tonight to let's just pause for a minute and think about, if we're suffering from certain health conditions and certain health concerns, what may be the cause to that, right? And within the products that we're using in our daily lifestyle, are those contributing to a health concern that somebody may be facing, right? Because not often enough are we pausing to think, what is it that's making me sick? Or what is it that may be causing my health concern? And it's important that we just take this time out to do that.
Doug, I have a quick question for those who are on the call this evening, because it gets me curious. I know I've had my own personal experience, but how many of you, and you can just simply raise your hand if you're on a video, but how many of you actually had a reaction to or response to a product that you used that you knew was just not good for you, whether it was allergic or could have been something? How many of you guys have had that type of experience? I'm just curious with a raise of hands. So we have Lila. What about you, Alice? And Shirley? Shirley says yes. Yeah, it's something that's very common, and it's all because of, like Doug said, a lot of the products that are used, we use them, sometimes not knowing why we use them other than vanity issues, but they definitely can and will have an effect on us. Terry says the big concern that she has is a frequent use of hand sanitizer. She's been told most or many have an ingredient with a hormone disruptor. Yeah, Terry, that one's a big one. I think Doug can elaborate a little bit more on that. That
Good,
is, whoo,
good,
that one's a tough one.
good timing. And I was actually just picking that up as that question was coming in. So this is another one, hand sanitizers. Most people don't realize that just before the world went funny 2 years ago, that 23 of the ingredients in hand sanitizers were actually being banned by the FDA, and all of the hand sanitizer companies were going to have to reformulate their products due to the nefarious effects, and that being one of them, from overusage of hand sanitizer. Then the world goes funny, and the scary boogeyman, that was on the media, scared everybody. I won't say what it is. And all of a sudden, all of the companies got a hall pass because this problem of health was way more important overall than protecting people's health. And all the hand sanitizers, were in everywhere. And I don't know about where you may live, but we still see them in every business and everywhere. You're gonna wipe your hands with something that's actually going to destroy your microbiome and make you more susceptible to being sick than it is to protect you. So yeah, hand sanitizer, absolutely a no-no.
Terry has a question, and I am going to give her that opportunity real quick. Doug, if you can unmute yourself real quick, Terry, and we'll give you about 30 seconds for that question because we want to be smooth this evening. But go ahead, Terry, whenever you're ready. Just unmute yourself.
The question I have on the hand sanitizer, because I really like the silver with the aloe in it, because it seems like it has more of a moisturizing effect. Because like you're in Canada, I'm in Chicago, we're washing our hands a lot and the hands tend to get really dry. Is that a good solution for that? Is there another alternative or just something to keep from getting those dry hands?
Give me like 5 minutes and I'm going to come to that, if that's all right.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Because that's going to be part of step 2 of where we're going with this. I've just got like 3 more products I want to talk about, and then we're going to come around to that, Terry. Skin irritations. Everybody's familiar with this? Benetton cream?
I have never heard of that, Doug. That must be a Canadian product.
maybe it's Canadian in English. Thankfully, whoever's bathroom I stole this out of, it hasn't been opened yet. Good job. Literally, I've been going around to people's houses, friends and family and stuff, and robbing their bathrooms the last couple of days to put this together. So if any of you are watching, I might bring it back. Or I might give you something better to use. So anyways, cream for common skin irritations. Once again, there's nothing natural. It's all salts. It's all sodium lauryl sulfates. It's all alcohols to try and help common skin irritations. And then the other thing too is when we look at dyes, red 40, blue 6, full of that in all of these, which has been directly linked to autism. Do your research on that. Every one of these awesome products that everybody has to have has the dyes and the products that are directly linked to autism. So just a note on that. More hair conditioner. I don't know if you can see that. These big shops, these big stores that we see in the malls that make great smelling soaps and shampoos and all of these different kind of products that are totally on trend right now. And when I say on trend, I mean these businesses are absolutely exploding because people want to buy their products because they make them feel good, they make them smell good, in their opinion, they make them look good, but it's coming at a cost. And that cost is what we see on our side of the fence every day with, I don't feel good, my digestive system sucks, my skin's breaking out, I've got red spots, my hair's falling out, and what do I do to help myself? And this is a common denominator that's leading to these concerns. And a lot of people may not want to hear it, but it's the truth. And all you have to do is just take a few minutes tonight and look in the products in your bathroom and just sit down and read the ingredients.
Hey, Doug, something that's very common that I got to throw in this real quick as a woman, and I'm sure the women on this call could agree, but how many of these chemicals that are in these products are affecting the health of women everywhere? Why? Because they're endocrine, and forgive my, if I slaughter that word, endocrine disruptors. And how many women do you know out there dealing with disorders of the thyroid or hormone issues? A lot of these products, they're affecting that part of a woman's health. And I'm sure many of you could agree with me in my own personal experience as well. Many of the chemicals, the perfumes, however you want to say it, is parabens. Those things are affecting that very delicate ecosystem of a woman, which is our endocrine system. So that's scary, because how many women do you know out there who are dealing with hormonal issues? I can promise you that probably every single one of you women know someone with a hormone issue.
Absolutely. We got hormone issues, we've got digestive issues, we've got reproductive issues, we've got yeast issues. Like, we've got so many of these different issues, and everybody thinks it's got to be coming from somewhere, because our bodies aren't born intended to be sick, right? So it's what we're doing, it's what we're giving our bodies, it's what we're putting into and onto our bodies that are contributing to poor health. And this is the bigger conversation that we need to be having nowadays, is looking at the what is making me sick, right? All of these companies are going to try and sell you their products because they want you to look and feel or look better, right? But it's coming at a cost, right? None of these companies are telling you, hey, we're filling these products full of nefarious chemicals that are going to make you sick. And these companies are essentially legally protected because they language themselves in a certain way and do things in a certain way. But, we just want to cast truth out to people and get people thinking for themselves as to what's contributing to how they're feeling, right? Styling gel. This is a men's styling gel. Once again, just full of absolutely nefarious ingredients. And I could spend hours and hours reading all of these supplement labels and talking about the nefarious effects of each ingredient individually. And I actually did up a spreadsheet a few months ago where I grabbed 30 different products, wrote all the ingredients out, and then had somebody for me do the research on what each ingredient is, what it did, where it came from, and all that kind of stuff. And I might put it together in a PDF in the near future to get that out so people understand. But just for now is a good little homework exercise is just take a look at those products that you're using on a daily basis. And if it's full of ingredients that you can't pronounce, if it's full of chemicals, just think twice about using it. Is the best advice that we can give. And we're not trying to be holier than thou, or saying that we do things differently in our worlds too, but it's just the more that we can awaken our minds as to, like I say, what we're using and how that may be contributing to different aspects of health, that's what we want to do. So this by no means is a sales pitch, but it's just something to think about. So we've got all of these products that are full of chemicals. We can start looking for solutions that are chemical free. So, everybody here knows that, myself and Deena are part of Ameo Life, and we're going to talk about those products, but I want to just cast that with a little bit of a bigger sort of picture here for a second. Is when you're looking to make a shift, let's say from the grocery store brands, if anybody's using those, and each product that you're looking to make a shift sort of from to, let's say, and I've had to go through a sharp learning curve on this as well. What we see on so many products, and this is where the deception comes in this industry, is people will see, and I'm just going to go back to for a second, because I really don't have anything else that says it's got anything good in it but that. So when we look at toothpaste, when we maybe look at different soaps or conditioners or different products that we're buying in the grocery stores, some of them will say, hey, this contains mint, this may contain healthy herbs and healthy, what are known to be healthy and beneficial ingredients for the skin or for the body. Just as a rule of thumb, please don't ever take what's shown on the front of a label. Okay? So many people will say, hey, well, but that product, it's got such and such a great ingredient, it's going to make all the difference for me in the world. Well, that's the front of the label where they're trying to get you to buy the product. You got to look at the back of the label and say, okay, well, if it's got whatever, tea tree oil or something that's going to be beneficial in there, weigh out the pros and cons with that product and say, okay, well, it's got one good ingredient or maybe two good ingredients in it, but it's only got a few milligrams, enough that they can just put it on the label. But if it comes at the cost of a whole bunch of other chemicals and toxic ingredients, that product could be 50% great ingredient. And I'm putting my formulator hat on here for a second of formulating products. That product could have 50% great, awesome ingredient in it. But if the other 50% of it is full of the toxins and the nefarious chemicals, your body's still going to have that bad reaction by taking that product. So what I just want to say here is please don't buy into what a label says. That's any company trying to get you to buy their product when they see it on the shelf and stand out differently from their competitors. I hope that makes sense, because we've got to buy products on what says on the back, and the back is boring and it's all these words that most of us can't read anyways. That's going to tell you if that product is going to be good for you and make a difference for your health. And
Doug, not just that, Doug, but something that I'm sure a lot of others would agree. Like, you're carrying that bottle, and as I'm sitting here in my home office, all it stands out is that bright blue color. The brighter the color in a product, I should say that should be the biggest warning label ever, because a lot of the synthetic color that they're putting in it, it's all a marketing thing. And, I don't have anything against marketing, but, they're trying to attract you with their bright colors. And of course, some people are attracted to colors. So when I just see that blue, it's the first thing for me is I just see something synthetic and fake. So just because something has a shiny, glittery label or a bright color, if anything, that should be the biggest warning label before you even flip it to the back to read what the ingredients are.
Exactly. So we want to get past the marketing and down to the reality, right? So there is healthy alternatives out there for all of these products, and you're not going to find them at the grocery store, because the products, if we just think about how that industry and how that business works for a second, is the shelf space in the grocery stores is extremely expensive, and the shelf space in the grocery stores is owned by the big corporations, right? So to think that the grocery store is going to give shelf space to a small supplement company that is selling one or two SKUs, right? It's not going to happen. But what happens is we've got these large corporations that produce this product that are now starting to produce products that look natural, that look organic, and people think, oh, great, the grocery store is going organic and they're going with all this good healthy stuff as an alternative to what this guy's talking about. Well, guess what? In so many instances, it's the same company that owns both products, right? So first and foremost, they're trying to protect their profit margins. They're trying to protect their shelf space, but they're duping consumers into think that consumers are making a healthy choice. So you take off the grocery store you know, what comes in the fancy packaging, and oh, this looks way more organic than a bottle of, or than a, you know, a bar of Dove or something like that. But you read the ingredients, you get one or two organic ingredients, and back to what I was saying about this stuff even earlier, you get one or two organic ingredients, the rest of it's full of the same garbage as this stuff, it's just packaged differently. So you can't take anything at face value out there that, once again, the front cover, no matter what it says, you got to look at the back and you got to look at the ingredients, because so many of these natural companies nowadays are owned by the same big guys that are, you know, stuffing us on this side. And, you know, I hope this is really opening some eyes and a bit of a wake-up call on this, because like I say, we want to tell the truth as to how the industry works and how people are getting sick. So, you know, for Deena and I here, this is unscripted. We're just talking, you know, as a group and as a family here with everybody. So if it comes across a little bit rough sometimes, please know that I'm just, you know, I'm speaking from my heart on this.
Yeah. Doug, you know, it's so funny, as you're sharing that though, I can't tell you how many people I meet on a daily basis through our interactions here at the company and in person, that people are afraid now. And I want to make it a point here, and I'm just going to say it. This is not in any way to create fear amongst anyone. Doug said this is not a sales pitch, and I'm going to agree with Doug, but I'm going to say that something that I'm very proud to be associated with is this company, because Doug and our team have worked so hard to represent and have a solution to the products that are out there. I like to say we have a better way. And I'm going to say that even if Doug doesn't say that, because Doug won't say that, but I will. And I've seen these products from our company do some wonderful things. I have to share this real quick, Doug, because it happened today. My mother-in-law suffers from severe allergies. She just moved from Florida to Las Vegas, and I took her a bottle of, they have her on several medications right now. She's only been in Las Vegas for a few months. And she has all these medications at her house right now, plus some other things. And I said, look what I brought you, Mom. And I brought her our nasal atomizer with the silver and the aloe. I go, just be generous, spray it up your nose, right? And then I helped her remove some things in the house. And then about an hour and a half later, she came and sat next to me. She's like, I can breathe. And I was like, I looked at her. I go, what are you talking about? She's like, my nose can breathe. And I'm like, I just said, thank you, God. That's what I said. And she's just walking around and she had like a little smile on her face. So Doug, if you won't say it, I'm going to say it. We have a solution, and we do have a better way. And I'm going to let you go back to what you were saying, because I had to say that as you're talking about the chemicals out there and medications.
Cool. Thank you. And like I say, please don't take this as a sales pitch. I'm just trying to, you know, explain the difference in our approach of doing these things. Is, you know, we were looking at the mouthwash earlier, right? So, you know, what we wanted to make sure with, and because everything that we've come up with and everything we've developed as a product is essentially an answer to living healthier for ourselves and for our families, and, you know, for our pets and for everything else. So there's always got to be a better way, let's say. So, you know, here's a mouthwash that is silver, is peppermint essential oil, is trace minerals, and a little bit of xylitol. There's no ingredients in here that I can't pronounce. There's no chemicals, there's no toxins, there's no preservatives, there's nothing in here that can harm the body whatsoever, only complement the body, you know, complement our gums, complement our oral system. When we use it orally, knowing what we know about the structured silver, we're not going to destroy the natural biome of the mouth. We're not going to wipe out the good bacteria. So we're going to protect the gums, we're going to protect the teeth, we're going to protect the oral system, and we're not going to cause damage. So these companies could do the same thing if they want to. It costs a little bit more money to produce it, but the answers are out there, is what I'm trying to say. So, you know, there's that just replaced that, if you're seeing a visual reference, right? So you've got chemical versus natural. Okay, so we just replaced one and one. Number two is we looked at soaps. Here's a complete all-natural soap with not one filler, not one chemical, not one toxin, not one preservative, once again, not one ingredient that you can't pronounce, that is 100% organic. When your kids swear and you need to wash their mouth out with soap, here's a good alternative. But you know, with this, we see amazing glowing reports with this. And, you know, when we start to look at the cost differentiation of what it costs to live naturally versus what it costs to not live naturally, okay, here's a bar of organic soap that's going to replace, if we want to, and I use this as shampoo myself, but now we've just replaced the conditioner, we've replaced the shampoo, because this will totally lather up like a shampoo. It will replace the shower gel, and it will replace the toxic soaps. Okay, so we've just replaced 5 products with 1, and that's a great monthly savings for somebody. And they've just taken, if somebody was using these on a regular basis, let's say, right, what we've just done is we've taken about 150 chemicals out of contact with the body. And you think about that over the course of the year of that toxic barrage on the body every day, we've now just been able to take that out of the body. And if we think that our hair is going to feel better, our skin's going to feel better, our digestive system's going to feel better, you know, it's just something to take into consideration for here, right? So once again, you see, I'm trying to hold all this, that pile replaced with that. Okay, just for some visual representation. All right, so, and with the mouthwash a second ago I was talking about, we also do that in a breath spray. So this is just something you can carry in your purse or in your vehicle, and if you want a shot just for, I'm going to say, immune support, oral support throughout the day, breath support, there you go. This is basically the mouthwash in a 2 ounce. It's our breath spray. Okay, so we were talking, Terry had the question about hand sanitizer a little while ago, and we touched about the nefarious side of hand sanitizer. But we look at the amount of products that, and I didn't really get into a lot of, you know, makeup products here. But when we look at, you know, skin creams, we had this penitent cream here a few minutes ago, but we look at skin creams, we look at hand sanitizers, we look at what a lot of people are doing for, I'm going to say, acne and different skin conditions, and the topical products that they're using, you know, on the face and on the arms and the different parts of the body for that. Well, we can replace all of those with this. And I'm not making any healing, treating, or curing claims on this. I'm just trying to give us some options that are natural, right? So once again, taking the toxic chemicals away from our body and replacing that with something that's all natural. Okay. So the other thing too, is we looked at this earlier. I haven't used this for years. I use this for brushing my teeth. Because if we look at the purpose of this, right, it's to give us fresh breath, it's to make our teeth white, and it's to give us that glowing smile that when you kiss somebody, it's better, right? That's what the media tells us. Okay, this accomplishes the same thing. Because if we look at what's making our teeth brown, it's a bacterial side of things, right? Like, you know, what is plaque? Plaque is bacteria. What is bad breath? Bad breath is bacteria, right? But this way, we're not putting anything into our oral cavity that's going to cause any nefarious effects after a long-term buildup. So what we're doing here now is we've just replaced about 10 other products that people are using every day with one product. And this isn't to try and get people to buy more product. Please do not think that this is the way I'm coming on this, because that is absolutely not what I want this to look like, or you know, what we're doing here. This is just to consider natural options to chemical-based products. So
Doug, I need to throw a little disclaimer on that gel being used as a toothpaste. I personally do the same thing too, but we don't recommend using the aloe only because the aloe silver gel, it's not a food grade aloe. So I just want to add that real quick, but you definitely could do with the extra strength.
yeah, I wouldn't recommend the aloe. The aloe is just the one I had in my hand. So good call and good point on that. Definitely the extra strength. And the aloe also doesn't taste very good. So if I said, you know, if I was recommending use aloe, I wouldn't use aloe myself. So I can't say, you know, I'd recommend that. But like I say, these are just common sense alternatives, right? And if we make common sense alternatives to looking at our health, well, common sense tells us that our health is probably going to get better, right? So back to, I'm going to say hand purification or, you know, skin support, let's say, no alcohol, no nefarious chemicals, and the gel is formulated to work in harmony with the biome of the skin. So what does that mean? It's not going to destroy the bad bacteria, or the good bacteria of our skin. It's going to give us a 6-hour layer of protection that if we're shaking hands or hugging or doing something with somebody that may have something that we don't want on our body, our immune system is going to protect us from that. So just things to consider when looking at making a change from what you may be currently using as products to what is available out there, and how we can save people a lot of money, free up a lot of space on the bathroom counter with just a few products. Go ahead there, Deena. I know you want to say something.
Thank you for seeing my face. No, actually, Terry Ewald does have an important question, and I do want to give her this opportunity because it's not all about us talking. We'd love to hear from you. Totally. So Terry, go ahead with your question. Just unmute yourself, and then we'll give you a minute as well. Terry, you had asked, you had a question, please. So if you're there, unmute yourself. If not, we'll continue with the presentation.
Okay, I'm sorry. First of all, I want to thank you for bringing out about looking at the ingredients on the products, because what I noticed here in the States is that these big companies are buying out these smaller companies, and the packaging can look the same, but then when you turn around and look at the ingredients, you'll see, again, names you can't pronounce. But the question that I had was, you mentioned that it's not a food grade aloe. So if it's not, what are the ways that we need to be careful using it? Like I know some people will use silver on their eyes if they have cataracts.
Okay, so with that, Terry, we're specifically just talking about the aloe gel. So the extra strength gel doesn't have any aloe in it, which is what Deena's referring to. The aloe gel, we sort of recommend, or we say, you know, after you've spent a day in the sun, this is a great product to use because it's going to help hydrate the skin. So when I look at the aloe gel, it's more after a hot day in the sun and a recovery product from things like that. It kind of sits on its own island that way. Whereas the extra strength gel is the, I'm going to say, the one that we're talking about more for a daily usage with a much broader usage spectrum, let's say.
Okay, so could you not use it, for example, like I was thinking like wound care, like if something's scabbing over and you want to soften it to prevent the scarring?
If you want to, absolutely.
So even though it's not a food grade, you're not going to have any issues with that?
That's okay. That's okay. We just don't go with a food grade aloe because we don't recommend it as a consumable product. So that's why it's a topical. It falls into the cosmetic side of things. You know, and just here's just an interesting thing, because these conversations that we're having are great, and the more that everybody on here knows and understands what we do and why we do it and why decisions get made like they do, and this is great, Terry. Thank you.
Okay, so another question I have is because like with you know, say like for women, we're wearing cosmetics and stuff like that, and say if we put the aloe skin silver gel on our skin, just one for moisturizing and one for, cleansing the skin, and then applying our cosmetic products. So there's no problem the fact that it's not food grade. I mean,
No.
you're still
Absolutely not. No.
No.
okay. You're still okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've been supplying this product for years and years and years, and we've never changed the formulation. So food grade would just mean that it's a consumable, and this is not a consumable product.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know, because I do know on the spray, I make the spray bottles, and I do spray the silver, in my mascara or a little bit, or I spray my makeup, whatever, my makeup brushes or whatever, just, to kind of help keep the bacterial load down. So I just want to make sure I'm using it correctly. Thank you.
You are, Terry. Thank you so much.
And we can take, this is kind of what we wanted to get off of our chest tonight, and bring everybody up to speed on what we were thinking. And we can, what I'm going to do, well, let's keep it going for a few minutes, and then I'm going to stop the recording, and we'll keep going on questions. But if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. And we wanted this to be a roundtable discussion where if people have questions, that this is a just completely safe environment to do so.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I'm clear on something, because like I mentioned, I know people that feel like they've had success using rubbing silver on their eyes like several times a day when they have cataracts. And I've always used just like the regular silver, but I decided to do it with the aloe, and it just seemed like a little uncomfortable for my eyes. So I didn't know if there were any thoughts on that.
Well, there's nothing there that's going to cause any harm. I guess is the best way to say it. But when we look at our body, when we look at everything we're doing to save, or I'm not going to save is probably the wrong word, but complement our health, we're also, the gel is going to be a little bit acidic, let's say, as compared to the silver solution that's an alkaline. So and I know a lot of people that use the gels, let's say for, eye support, let's say, but because it's a little bit more acidic, it can cause a little bit of the feeling of irritation. It's not hurting anything, but it's going to cause a little bit of the feeling of irritation due to it being slightly acidic, versus if you were using the silver solution as an eye support, you probably wouldn't get the same sensation because we're dealing with an alkaline. But not to say, and this is something that Deena and I run into every day, is all our bodies are different from a fact that if, my eyes versus your eyes versus Deena's eyes may be different as far as, the acid content, right? So like, just for a better visual representation, let's say, is when we've got somebody with yeast and candida. And when we think of candida, we think of that white tongue, right? When somebody sticks their tongue out, it's all coated in white, and that's yeast buildup. This is flavorless, right? Like the silver solution is flavorless, but we will get people that will purchase the product and then call into the customer care or get a hold of Deena and say, man, like this product tastes horrible. And, once we peel apart the layers of the onion a little bit to understand what's going on with that person and their life, and, there's different things, like actually, if you take this after smoking, if somebody smokes cigarettes, it tastes horrendous. People that have a yeast buildup will notice that it doesn't taste very good. Is it a flavor within the product? Absolutely not, because it's water. Primarily it's water and silver. So there's nothing in there that can give it a flavor profile. But based on somebody's oral profile of what's going on in their body, can affect how their body receives it and triggers that to the message to say, hey, this tastes good or this doesn't taste good. Or, like I say, 99.9% of the people out there say it doesn't taste like anything but water. So it's the same back to the eyes there, Terry, depending on what may or may not be going on with the eyes there, could enhance or lessen how you feel in using or taking that to support that part of the body.
Thank you, Doug. I have a question that somebody just messaged me directly, Doug. They want to know, can they use a silver gel and apply it to their nose to not only as a, let me see what they say, not only as a lubricant, but to kind of, they're using the word prevent pathogens from entering the nose. Well, we don't like to use that language, but I know personally, I've used it many times to coat the nose just for my own personal safeguarding when I'm out in a public space and in an airplane. But maybe you could elaborate a little bit more on that, Doug. Would you kindly do so?
I'll say that that's an area where oxygen enters the body. There's a lot of things that are airborne in the world. Anything that we can put in that area to help support our immune system, I'm 100% for it. That's kind of the dancing around answer.
Thank you so much for that. Why don't we talk about the ears as well? And then if you can, I hope, I don't want to take over, but I'd like for you to share a little bit. The ears are important, but I know we just came out recently with a new product and it has a dropper for precision application. And when I think about using that product, which I haven't used because I can't apply nothing to my ears, Doug, but I think specifically maybe that was in mind, is using the silver and aloe in the ear. Can you share a little bit about that?
It was, and the good thing about getting that is when people, a lot of times when people think about how their body may not be feeling very good in the ears, let's say, right? And we've got different things that are happening there. When we look at most ear care products, you know, they're just going to deal with the outer ear. But a lot of times the challenge that that person may be facing is actually in the inner ear, and that's, you know, the area in behind the eardrum. So the reason why we wanted to get that into a dropper is because if somebody actually lays on their side for a good 10 or 15 minutes after putting those eardrops in, it's going to go in, it's going to go past the eardrum, it's actually going to run right down the tubes, right down to the back of the throat, let's say, where a lot of the concern that people are facing is in that area here, right? In behind the ear. So what do we know about silver? Is silver naturally cleanses yeast, bacteria, fungus, and mold, right? So if we've got a concern happening in that part of the body and we can cleanse the cause of what the problem is, are we healing anything? No, we're just going after the root cause of what's not making somebody feel very good. And that's why we came out with the eardrops like that.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. I'm going to send them that. Well, they just sent it to me in a text.
Yeah, and I think Janet had her hand up a couple seconds ago too.
Yeah, let's go, Janet. We want to hear from you. Go ahead and unmute yourself there.
Yeah, hi. I live up here in Canada and as well, and the biggest hindrance in providing the products for my customers is cost and shipping to Canada. So I have a couple of questions in regards to that. I was told that we were going to be changing factories, if I understand correctly, in regards to the lozenges. I use them daily because I've been dealing with a chronic cough way before COVID. And of course, since COVID, it's just been more aggravated with everything else going on in the environment. So the other part of my question is, when you're using the nasal spray, how frequently would you recommend applying it so that you're getting good protection when you're out in public? And I'm a massage therapist, so I work on people all the time, so I want to protect myself as well as the people that I'm working on. So I have gel all throughout my house, and I have the liquid that I take daily. So I know that's a lot of questions, but I just want to know how I can support our Canadian customers.
Thank you. It's a great question.
Thank you. I'm in Canada too, so I feel your pain in a lot of ways, and I'll answer the questions here. So with the gel, keep doing what you're doing, and we're working right now. I don't know how soon it's going to be out, but we're going to be doing a 16-ounce gel as well. As soon as I can get that turned around, it's probably going to be a month, 2 months, but just so you know, for you and a lot of our massage therapists, and the practitioners in the clinics have been asking for it, so it's coming. The question regarding the lozenges, and this is just good for everybody to know, because actually your question, even though we're talking about the bathroom tonight, actually fits into the overall here. So pretty much everybody's familiar with the lozenges. You know, we've had them for years. But here's what's going on in our world. Is the company that we had making the lozenges for us, because we had to use what's called a contract manufacturer to make these for us, was bought out by a large pharmaceutical company. And once that transaction took place, the contract manufacturer got a hold of us and they basically said, we can't produce products anymore that contain silver because the pharmaceutical company doesn't want to deal with silver. So unfortunately, we can't have you as a client anymore, which means that we had lost access to manufacture our lozenges. Crazy, crazy story. So at that point, I teamed up with a good friend of mine named John Anderson, who was actually the founder of the company called Isogenics, who's one of my really good friends. And him and I spent a year formulating a new form of lozenge. Back and forth on testing samples, and we were taking a whole new approach to this. And in November, he suddenly passed away. One day before we were running the final R&D sample to take that product to market. And it just shocked the whole health industry. So back to the drawing board on the lozenges. So I'll be happy to say that just before this call tonight, my partner Paul, we found a new partner to make the lozenges with us. We took a whole different approach to them, but just we're on our second R&D sample now. But just tonight, my partner Paul picked up the new samples at the new facility we're using to make these, and took them over to the lab, because we have to third-party lab test anything before it's ready for market. And we're just trying to play with the silver consumption, or the silver, the amount of silver per lozenge, per drop, let's say, in these, because we've got to get it right. So it takes a few rounds of testing and manufacturing to do so. So what we've got right now is these, which are, I'm going to call it a drop. Okay. So what we're probably going to do is we're going to come out with a drop to start, which is the same recipe, the same formulation as the lozenge. It's just a little bit smaller. But what I've also got is suckers. I don't know if you can see that. And this is something that people have been asking for years, is can you do a silver sucker? And we're like, yeah, sure. So here we go. So we're probably going to do the suckers and the drops to start. And then we just wanted to make sure that we nailed these and did it right. All going well with this, then we have to order a dye, because anything that's made has to, you know, when you're making these kind of things, has to go into a proper dye to get the right size and consistency. We've actually got to order that out of Germany and get a custom dye made for the machine to make a lozenge. So I know that's a long-winded answer, but you know what? I want to make sure that all of you know what I know, but also understand what it takes to formulate, manufacture, and bring a product to market. So there's the answer in regards to that. And then while I'm talking about lozenges, is the other product that we're so close on is and this is a first to market. Nobody's ever done this. Like, I mean, this is an absolute industry first. Is we're doing a freeze-dried, I don't know if you can even see it, a freeze-dried vitamin supplement. So, and we're going to get more into this in the near future, so I'm going to make it super quick. But when you look at gummies and you look at most candy-based supplements, they're full of sugars, they're full of sucralose, they're full of all sorts of like absolutely nefarious ingredients. So when you look at gummies, and gummies are a multi-billion-dollar industry now, because they taste good, and it's, you know, it's just like everything we're talking about, the bathroom stuff. You know, everybody buys this bathroom stuff because they want to feel good, right? So gummies give you that feel good sensation. but most people don't realize that you've only got like a few milligrams. You don't have, you can't, in any gummy out there, you can't put enough good, healthy ingredient in it to make a positive reaction for the body. So with this, it's freeze-dried fruit and all good ingredient, no chemicals, no fillers, no toxins, no preservatives, no anything. It's completely diabetic friendly. It's completely sugar-free. There isn't anything else on it like on the market. So we're going to be the first with that, probably 8 weeks-ish. And I've been working on this one for over a year. This is super, super exciting. I think I answered all your questions. With that, hold on though. I'm just going to say goodnight and pause the recording, and then I'm going to stay on here as long as everybody wants. But just, we're going to be putting this on YouTube and stuff after. So I want to thank everybody for coming. Thank you, Deena, for co-hosting with me tonight. We're going to be doing this on a regular basis, and thank you. And with that, I'm going to pause the recording.